Imagine a flickering candlelit supper in a rambling English cottage, where the merry clink of glasses conceals a barbed whisper in flawless French. My son's fiancée, the epitome of Parisian polish, leans close with the conspiratorial snigger, dismissing my provincial quirks in a tongue she presumes long forgotten. But hidden talents have a habit of emerging. Like a cork popping on a dusty cellar, vintage, and with one impeccably timed riposte, the evening script flips. What unfolds when the unwitting bovine in the tea room reveals her formidable horn? Those archetypal British family gatherings that kick off with effervescent banter and a robust bottle of claret, destined, though we'd none of us suspected, it to fray into a tapestry of unexpected disclosures. The oak dining table in our drafty old cottage sagged obligingly beneath. The bounty of a hearty Sunday roast, a glistening leg of Welsh lamb, crisp-edged roast potatoes glistening with goose fat, fluffy Yorkshire puddings risen to airy heights, and a jug of minted gravy thick enough to stand a spoon in. My son Alex had been adamant about uncorking the Bordeaux to properly toast the engagement. Mum, his arm looped with easy affection around the back of his fiancée, Elise's chair. She cut a dash of continental allure, statuesque and slender, her bobbed hair framing a face that evoked the effortless Ellen of a left-bank flaneuse, far removed from the drizzle-soaked moors of her soon-to-be in-laws. Their romance had blossomed amid the honeyed stones of Lyon. During postgraduate days, he sketching soaring cathedrals for his architecture degree, she poring over faded canvases in pursuit of art history. It was the stuff of sepia-toned postcards, wasn't it? A trans-channel idyll that made my heart swell with vicarious delight, even as it underscored my own earthbound trajectory. I played the role of the steadfast outsider, the lone parent who'd bootstrapped Alex through childhood after his father had done a runner when the lad was scarcely out of his romper suits. Back in my own youth, during a misguided gap year, I devoured French lessons with the zeal of a would-be existentialist, dreaming of hitchhiking from Calais to Cannes, notebook in hand, scribbling epiphanies in the margins. Reality, alas, had other plans. A string of thankless shifts at a pokey travel agent's in Rainy, Leeds, conjugating irregular verbs over mugs of stewed Tetley. Yet the language had burrowed deep, resilient as dockweed in a cracked pavement. I'd kept it under wraps from Alex, who harbored the fond delusion that I'd mislaid it amid the nappy changes and school runs. And truthfully, what purpose would flaunting it serve? It remained my clandestine heirloom, a silken thread linking the girl I'd once been to the woman who traded berets for wellies. Elise, bless her, commenced the evening with beguiling grace. C'est absolument délicieux, madame, she purred, her dark eyes alight as she deftly twirled a forkful of honey-glazed parsnips. Alex, my earnest translator, chimed in without prompting. She reckons it's spot on. High praise from a gourmet like her. I returned a radiant smile, content to perpetuate the pretense, relishing the domestic harmony as keenly as the crackle of the aga-warmed air. Conversation bubbled along amiably, reminiscences of Alex's gap year stumbles in Provence, Elise's tales of Parisian flea markets, until the wine worked its mellowing magic and the discourse drifted inexorably to the thorny thicket of matrimonial machinations, grand, Parisian basilica, or quaint Cotswolds barn. It ignited with the intensity of a common session. Alex advocating for spectacle, a sweeping marquee affair beneath the Eiffel Tower's glow, while Elise demurred towards discretion, a tucked-away provincial vineyard redolent of lavender and longing. Mais non, mon chéri, she breathed, her timbre dipping to an intimate hush as she inclined towards him, her shoulder brushing his with calculated intimacy. Ta mère, elle est si tellement provinciale. Imagine-la parachuter dans un château français authentique. Elle surgirait probablement, avec ses baskets hideuses aux pieds et exigerait du ketchup pour arroser les escargots. Her laughter pealed forth, a silvery cascade hastily stifled behind a lace-trimmed napkin, the French unfurling in a swift silvery cascade. Ce serait comme lâcher une vache rustique au milieu d'un salon de thé raffiné. Quelle catastrophe absolue. Alex joined her merriment with a booming chortle, blissfully adrift in the subtleties, bestowing upon her a squeeze that spoke volumes of besotted indulgence. What's so funny, darling? Spill the beans. Rien, rien. Juste que ta maman est si attendrissante dans sa manière si anglaise. C'est authentique. She pivoted to beam at me, her expression a confection of syrupy sweetness. Vowels elongated like spun sugar, lashes aflutter in feigned camaraderie. But oh, those eyes, they betrayed her. glinting with the cold precision of a scalpel concealed in velvet. I suspended my carving knife in mid-descent, the silver catching the firelight like a held breath. Provinciale? A lumbering cow let loose in a tea room? The slight slithered home not with the force of a broadside, but with the insidious pinch of condescension, murmured as though we were confederates in cruelty, all under the benevolent beam of my own kitchen pendant. A flush ascended my throat, hot as mulled cider, yet I composed myself with the practiced stoicism of countless netball sidelines and solitary nativity plays. The cutlery met the plate with a resonant clink, a prelude to the overture, and I locked gazes with her across the damask cloth, the interlude elongated, charged as the hush before a summer squall over the dales. I articulated with measured poise, my French materializing fluid and assured, akin to a dormant fountain springing anew in a parched courtyard. Si mes baskets te paraissent si affreuses, attends seulement de voir ce que j'ai en réserve pour la lune de miel. Des croques fluo et un baudrier bien chargé. Absolument dernier cri, n'est-ce pas? Et pour ce qui est du ketchup sur les escargots, ma chère, la vie est bien trop éphémère pour tant de chichi inutile. Pourrais-tu me passer le sel, s'il te plaît? A sepulchral quietude descended upon the parlor, profound as the nave of York Minster at Evensong. Elise's fork escaped her grasp, plummeting to porcelain with a betraying clatter that echoed like a gavel's fall. The bloom deserted her cheeks, rendering her as ashen as unset curd from a Devon dairy. Alex's mandible descended in slack-jawed stupefaction, his gaze volleying betwixt us with the frantic rhythm of a rally at Queen's Club. Mum, vous parlez français couramment? I elevated my goblet in a laconic shrug, the ruby liquid swirling prismatically in the taper's glow. Depuis bien avant que tu ne trottines, mon grand. Il était temps de dépoussiérer les vieux. Reflex. Elise faltered into a torrent of contrition, her utterances a frantic medley of bilingual remorse. Je n'ai pas voulu dire « Oh mon Dieu, je suis désolée au-delà des mots. C'était juste une bêtise de vin trop généreux. » Une plaisanterie? I interjected, my inflection airy as a profiterole, yet laced with the unyielding temper of tempered steel. Nous en faisons tous des facéties, Élise, mais retiens bien ceci. La vache en question pourrait bien renverser toute la table d'un coup de corn. I appended a conspiratorial wink, a flourish of levity amid the tension. And mirabile dictu, Alex detonated into guffaws the robust, cavernous variety that set the crystal decanter a-quiver upon the sideboard. Elise, regaining her composure, appended a fragile chime of laughter, her fingers fluttering to her décolletage in the manner of a startled songbird. I staggered onward, through a barrage of artful deflections, debates, on posy hues, lavender for her, heather for me, the interminable squabble-pitting French press arabicas against our stalwart. PG tips. I triumphed, citing the merits of milky fortitude, and even a detour into the lore of regional cheeses, where I extolled the virtues of a ripe Wensleydale against her brie, yet beneath the veneer, the atmosphere thrummed with residual voltage, akin to the charged prelude to a thunderstorm, rolling in from the North Sea. As the clock in the hall struck the half-hour past 9, they assembled their Barber jackets by the flagstone vestibule, warmed by the Aga's residual embrace. Alex, ever the sentimentalist, tugged me into a sidelong clinch on the stoop, the chill autumn nipping at our heels. That was pure wizardry, Mum. Mental note, henceforth, accord you the reverence of a bond? Villainous. He bestowed a resounding buss upon my cheek, and in that instant I recaptured the cherubic imp who'd once extorted midnight recitals of Le Petit Prince in the original tongue. Huddled beneath eider downs with a contraband torch, Elise tarried by the frost-kissed Peugeot, her valedictory wave a desultory flap of chiffon. Bonne nuit, madame, she caroled, her lilt curdled to a thicker patois under duress. Bonne nuit, Elise, I volleyed back, my retort honed to a point. Et n'oublie jamais, la vache a des cornes acérées. The cow's horns are razor-sharp. Their headlamps cleaved the mist-shrouded gravel as they receded into the gloaming, bequeathing me the bouquet of sodden tweed and a pang of pensive solitude. I withdrew into the cottage's embrace, the timbers creaking a lullaby of subsidence. The scullery chores might dawdle till dawn. This eve demanded a replenished flute of Bordeaux, and the dog-eared sanctity of Madame Bovary, its pages yellowed as autumn leaves. We yokels merit our allotments of vengeful verse. After all, especially when laced with the bite of irony, the fortnight unfolded like a tentative pas de deux, laced with tentative olive branches and the faint crackle of mended fences. Elise's missives arrived in a flurry via WhatsApp, profuse penitence embroidered, with heart-eyed emojis and Protestations of vinous overindulgence. Utterly mortified, promise it shan't recur. Blame the Bordeaux. Meanwhile, Alex disseminated the anecdote to his coterie with relish, rechristening me Maman Magnifique in a flurry of group chats that left me blushing over my morning porridge. The nuptial blueprint evolved into a pleasing compromise. A no-fuss registry do in Verdant, Surrey, succeeded by a sun-dappled ceremony amid Provence's garrigue, where wild thyme perfumed the vows. One drizzly afternoon, Elise's call pierced the quietude of my herb garden, her timbre as cautious as a fawn's first foray. I was wondering, might you fancy contributing to the readings? Something poetic, perhaps in French? To make amends? I permitted a throaty chuckle to traverse the ether. Well, you do twist my arm so persuasively. But let's balance the ledger. Throw in a stanza of Bronte for the Moor's sake, shall we? Her relief gushed forth in a cascade of Gallic gratitude, and for the first time, I detected a genuine thaw in her reserve. As the equinox yielded to October's russet fanfare, I delved into the attic's cobwebbed recesses, exhuming my venerable rucksack, its canvas frayed from dormant adventures, the faithful trainers ensconced within, Bumbag coiled like a dormant serpent. Provence beckoned, after all, with its ochre walls and cypress sentinels. And should Elise venture a fleeting, appraising glance across future-laden boards? Let her ponder at leisure. Certain confidences are best imbibed in sips, savored like a venerable Stilton permitted to mature in the larder. In the grand, whimsical farce of familial bonds, every thespian awaits their soliloquy, and mine, it transpired, was scripted to perfection, accents and all. Who could say? By the time the confetti settled, we might even share a bilingual toast to unlikely allies. After all, even cows with horns can learn to curtsy.